Well, let me have perhaps a general understanding from multifaceted sector. One, the animals themselves. We've over time over depended on our local animals with their capacity that is highly inhabited. Because, of course, nature has it that two factors come to play, the gene and in the environment. The animals that we have do not have the opportunity to exceed their, to actually achieve their maximum capacity because of the factors of environment. One, two, you have had the last speech made by the minister. I would like to quickly jump to it. I think it's fundamental that the federal ministry at that level is owning up to the deficiency in terms of sectoral allocation to the sector. Whatever we want to do to improve the sector, it has to be from the top first. The government have come to the realization that there is an inequality in the distribution of support to both the livestock farmers and the crop farmers. This is a huge, huge leap for the growth of the industry. Secondly, professionals in the industry too have not been able to and look at themselves as partners. Over time, there have always been this conflict of interest, professional interest, so much so that the common farmer suffers. People, by our professions, we should have gone by our leaning and support the system in the best way we can. It's not about taking over all of the industry. It's about doing what you are trained to do, the services you feel you can render to progress to make the industry forward. Third, of course, which is majorly a function of environment, which we have no control over. Climate change has manifested in many ways and has affected the sector greatly. As you can see, greater percentage of animals in the sector are dependent on grasses. Pasture and water are the two common important factors. And if you look at our local geography, we don't even have the savanna belt anymore. It's now a Sahelian area, no more pasture. So there's always this movement and the attendant clashes, the conflicts that animals have to move from areas where there is no pasture and water to areas where this are available. And of course, the population is geometrically growing beyond the expectation of all. By 2050, we are expected to be over 400 million people. And then all the support facilities that were established earlier on have been outstretched and overstretched and underutilized. I say it from the point of view of the fact that yes, some grazing reserves are existing and are not being used. Yes, the other grazing reserves have been encouraged and have not been made available for the animals to use. So there is a dilemma here. The industry's growth is tied down to again the nature and type of husbandry practice that we have inherited, we are looking, and that we're still practicing. And of course, I don't expect that there should be the shift should be gradual. The trajectory should be in such a way that there are lessons learned, there are improvements along the way, and then we move, followed by consistent policies and support from government, followed by a change in attitude from farmers. Farmers knowing that by having interest in what we are promoting as scientists, as people, and the advancements that have been brought into the industry. Unfortunately, the buy-in by the farmers relies heavily in our ability to convince them, and they are easily convinced because it's about a reward system. The reward for an animal, of a pastoralist or a livestock farmer is the productivity of his animal. And if he sees whatever you are going to put on the table is going to increase the productivity of his animal, he will buy it. But then there are other issues of trust, especially when it comes to our major issue, conflict point. The trust between actors, state and non-state actors that are engaged in the value chain. And how do they resolve their conflicts? How do they mitigate the conflicts? How do they come and appreciate common facility, common resources that is available for them to benefit? So I think if we address all those issues, the sector will definitely take its pride of place. You can see it is one sector that has more opportunities than even other sectors of the agriculture because you can imagine what the poultry industry is doing. The value chain, the poultry. Look at the dairy industry, the value chain in the dairy industry. Look at the beef industry. Look at all of it. And they have a way of recycling themselves back and making sure that the environment becomes better. That is key as a fundamental because one, This is the only opportunity where we are going to have a national real-time database about our animals. And in the event that they don't have it, you can't plan. One. Two, we are challenged by this issue of migration and movements. We cannot control diseases if we cannot track and trace. We cannot engage in international trade if we cannot track and trace, because traceability is a very important factor. We cannot be able to support even the husbanders if we do not know the right population of their animals, where they live and how they live. So it's all about data. It's all about traceability. And if we can't do that, it means that the industry has not started. So for me, this is the right major step that the industry has taken. And I wholeheartedly look at it from the point of view of investing more in it, having more resilience in the challenges that will come along it, because it's not going to be an easy task. More so that we have too many divergent points, too many areas to cover, too many porous areas. So the activities are huge. And of course, the key and central to it is that farmer that has to have trust in the process.
So how do you suggest we drive that trust in the process to ensure adoption of this initiative?
My interaction with the pastoralists over the years has shown me that they are amenable to change. It's unfortunate when people believe that they don't. I don't accept that. You work with them, you earn their confidence. Try and make them realize that this is the benefit. You engage them in the practice, and they will see it and they will come. I give you an example. Common vaccination exercise. You go to a place like Veterinary Research Institute, they do not even have an outreach. For the first simple reason that I'm not saying they don't have, but the farmers themselves, the pastoralists themselves, align themselves properly to the need for their animals to be vaccinated. They know the benefits and they bought it wholeheartedly. Two, our Nigerian farmers today, and the pastoralists today, have reached a point where they have seen that their source of livelihood is getting extincted from banditry, from all of those factors. And one of the reasons why they can buy into this cheaply is the fact that it can be traced. If by any chance or by any reason somebody takes the animal away, it can be traced. Thirdly, it is in their own interest that the herd population remains through biosafety and biosecurity measures. And if, for instance, there's this traceability issues and you know that a herd that is infested that is moving towards your area, because they're the most informed group, their communication link is the best. You can't break it. So they will be able to at least do the necessary measures to prevent anything. So it's about educating them, it's about engaging, it's about working with them, not making sure, not enforcing. I mean, it's not an issue of enforcement. It has to begin with working with them, let them see the benefits, and then allow their leadership to also work around their other followership, because for them it's an established tradition. And of course, there are a lot of NGO groups that are working. And then, of course, we can't stay like that without enforcement. It has to start from that, and then we begin to see enforcement coming into it. There should be a time in our lifetime that will say stop. If your animals cannot be traced, we cannot accommodate it. It's in our national interest. At that point, we cannot begin to see the issue of enforcement without cheat. Because if we're enforcing and we're only using that as a means of exploiting them, it will also not work. But if we're doing that honestly and sincerely, there will be a balance.